Oh yeah, remember
It was
now.
the final
Remember
game
now.
of the stage.
Yeah, the big thing was the fact that the big thing we
Group
talked about.
stage.
I remember now. I totally forgot. The big that round was the fact that they've played this before, so at least there's some VOD review for investigative files. But I guess I'm interested to see how PB do here. First ban, of course, is gonna be Thatcher as per usual.
Yep, Thatcher, as we have seen before. I believe, I think they banned the Flores on this map. I can't remember. It could have been the Nomad as well, not off the top of my head. But instead, ban the Hibana. So we'll see a hard breach ban for the first time, not only in this series, but also in Stage 3 playoffs so far. Odd that we didn't actually get that in the first map. That was kind of nice. But either way, for the defense as well. Yeah, I was about to say. And I imagine for the defense, maybe a Valkyrie or a Mira to start out. There it is, Valkyrie.
Valkyrie, as per usual. It's always going to be the Valkyrie ban. I'm assuming this is going to be either Mira or it's going to be... I don't know what else it could be besides Mira, really.
Maybe... I'd say probably Mira. Sometimes Parabellum likes to ban the Cade. Well, that is exactly what we'll see. Mira has been one of their more common defensive bans, but Cade also is one that they do like to ban every now and then. And on a map like Bank, that sometimes, as you might know, on Basement, there are like, 18 hatches that all lead to the bottom floor. You're going to use an Electric Claw on some of them, so makes sense getting Cade out of there as well, because it'll make really just attacking a little bit easier in general, but also for downstairs specifically.
Yeah, especially with the Bonnet gun as well. It's gonna be annoying trying to get all those hatches open using either Selmas or Breeze or hard breach can openers or
and also
exothermic charges.
He was kind of smoking them on the Cade last map, so.
This is true. Yeah, that
you might want to get
him
on the off the Cade. Let's not deal with
him
it.
off the Cade. Get him out of here.
And
we're going to the bottom floor first night, actually, though.
There we go. We're going to see the impact of that Cade first and foremost. Then again, well, I guess PB banned the Cade, so maybe they want to run it anyway. I don't know. just theorize it. Just seeing. Though they might not be bringing the Cade, but we will see both the Tachanka and the Smoke, something we see on maps like Villa. And for here, similar strategy. As much time denial as possible. This is a strat that PB do enjoy very much. Actually, fun fact, a little bit of history. One of the first times and only times they've lost Villa in recent history was against SH when they were running this exact same strat against them. And moving to Bank, it's very effective here as well. Might see the Tachanka, well, probably not the Tachanka play Garage, but we could see him playing inside a red, sending some Shimiki grenades into out into Archives or at the door between server and the site itself. But beyond that, we'll also see IF, Benny. Pretty standard here. Subarctic, moving to the Ace, played this against Wichita Wolves on their Bank as well. Everyone on IF, this is exactly the same lineup they ran against Wichita Wolves.
And yeah, we saw during that Bank aim for IF is that, like, again, and we've seen it, well, it's the same thing IF always. It's just slow attacking round is always how it happens. But the big thing, too, like, compared to other maps, though, if you let IF take that control, though, it's kind of an issue on some other sites. Maybe not on Basement as much, but taking that control from IF and allowing them to do what they do is kind of an issue. And what I saw during the Wichita Wolves games, a lot of those players, defenders, got aggressive at certain times because they kind of needed to. It worked out here and there depending on how it goes, but I'm interested to see what, like, the favored side is, per se, for this game specifically. But again, we'll start defense first, though, and we'll see if IF are going to, try and clear out these roamers on this, this first floor, trying to clear people downstairs and tellers, but downstairs in open area, or if they're just kind of push in. But it looks like they're trying to roam clear, trying to push upstairs, take control of that vertical pressure, and push these players out, or get picks on the rotates and try and get those kills they need to. Looks like see one firing off through the office floor, the office ceiling. Spike's just going to take some shots. He's looking for someone to rotate back into office.
And that was Spirits on the Jaeger getting a little bit frisky there, but he'll rotate back out, and Eska will rotate back in, retaking the angle. But unfortunately, nobody's there, and he'll drop down.
The timing!
I was about to say, that is some insane timing right there. But he will manage...
I said he was waiting for it. He did.
Well, both players get away, though, Benny. They will stay alive, and... He can continue opening up that floor. IF can continue opening up that floor in general because this roam clear has taken quite a little bit of time, and it's all because just one or two players sitting inside of tellers, and one of them all the way from the bottom floor has ripped the head off of Giddy.
Still watching that angle, and it was not in real to watch, or Subarctic watching. It was actually Eska to watch the angle all the way from the bottom floor to get that kill. And now down your sledge and those grenades that could be nice to clear either, clear blue, clear red, clear one of those sites downstairs. They still have another set of grenades on Yana, but still it's nice to have. Grenades are always nice to have, and they needed to push Penguin off of these server stairs. He's finally going to pull back, but he's going to hold back towards that little lip, so you can wait for someone to walk down and see if you can get a kill with an SMG-11 or the shotgun, depending on how far they push. They're going to drone him out. Have they open up that server, the server hatch to get his cutoff, though, is the question here, because at least once they get that kill to even up the man counts. and stop Penguin from staying alive, especially in those dying seconds. And he can prove it in action. Grenade comes out. Penguin's gonna push up, but the grenade downs him still anyway. In real with that frag. They have control of CCTV, well, server now, but can they still make this happen?
Are both of the walls soft, Benny? Did they not reinforce those 2 panels that lead into the main site? Are those reinforced? I can't. I guess those aren't reinforced, but whatever it is, a thermite charge will open it up, and IF have the wall open, and they get into that default plant spot. Spirits melted, both find one. They've been trying to contest, maybe land a kill, will find one, but it's still PB showing up in the final seconds. Subarctic, the only one left. He won't die, but his teammate will end up losing the round, and I would say Parabellum, really, we talk about how Bank is kind of an attacker-sided map, but they really didn't seem to face much pressure on their defense. They were just playing wherever they wanted to play.
I would say big thing too is like it just a perfect way to play that was just wasting time, even though they had lost some players or well, the first thing first, like they opened up the top floor for IF. They have control of the top floor. They opened up and they start trying to push these players back into sight. And they didn't seem to have quite the intel they needed, probably because the mute was there and they didn't have the drones in the correct places because of time and everything. But they couldn't really find a way to cut off these players. And it was Eska to get the first pick onto one player not aware of his presence sitting down at the bottom of that hatch. And so really, at that point, having not gotten any kills, having wasted, 2 minutes trying to clear these roamers, and you did push them back, but you didn't get any kills for it. And then you try and execute on the site. And while it was close, though, that was a 2v1 at the end, it still was always in the favor of PB, time and, man count wise, because they were just trying and frag out, trying to push into sight. And they had both, people inside of blockers, inside of far back, just firing on those players, pushing into servers. Yeah, pushing into CCTV.
Now upstairs, you don't really have the exact same extended roam you need to take care of. Not people layered all throughout the map you have to clear back. A lot of it, kind of like Cocktail and Cafe, is going to be layered around the bomb site. Maybe spread out a little bit more evenly around instead of just one layer, a back line, back, and further. Now here, you'll probably see someone playing all the way deep in elevators. You have a shield contesting open area if anybody tries to come in through that double door that leads from the outside. And that's going to be the mainstay for the defense and where they're going to try to not only delay time, maybe even try to work a pick or two. IF, you can also likely anticipate one person sitting on the rappels on that north side of the map for a good portion of the round once they feel comfortable that they can. An entry from stock also might come out. You can see Inrio holding this angle, maybe, just maybe, trying to catch Spirits off guard in case he rotates back and isn't aware of Inrio's presence, but he doesn't see anything yet. We'll finally see the Wamai playing behind that shield. But there is an angle open from stock that could be used later on to try and pinch out Spirits.
It also looks like in the floor holes as well from someone playing Janitor too. So there's different angles to play here. The question is, if Inrio jumps in, is he free from getting shot in the legs? Looks like he's trying to drone that out and make sure he can jump through. And the big thing here is like these window play. And also having some play in the windows is huge here on that north side because those window players, if they play that pretty well, they can get good picks and get cutoffs as well on any people walking through that, that office into that CEO area. But so far, big thing first is going to be opening up hatches. They've opened up, well, not hatches, walls first. Looks like they've opened up one of those walls, a single wall between CEO and Janitor, allowing you to see all the way through. Somebody's trying to play behind those desks. And so far, it looks like they're trying to push out Spirits from the shield. One of those helmets get pushed off by a disc. And so far, I've just been having problems trying to push these players out of this hallway.
Especially because Inrio was droning there for like 18 years earlier. That is just a misplay in either communication or intel gathering. And an impact trick as well. Just because of either the lack of constant intel on Spirits with those magnets, or maybe he put them at the beginning of the round and just nobody spotted it. All of those Selmas have now been expended. One used successfully, but one caught by a magnet, and the other impact tricked by Spirits. He can now play this position a lot more safely, unless that nade is the death of him, but no, it's not. And Real manages to find one. That's Kool-Aid the Maestro playing inside of office, but there's Spirits. Hold the fort down and trade Kool-Aid out.
He's got to trade there. Wall gets opened up, and we'll see. Looks like Vivid made his push for it. The question is, what control over Janitor does PB have to stop this plant? There is some control. Meld is trying to push in. He's walking, but Arrow on the windows is big here. Spirits will fight back. They'll take out one of the windows. They down the people on site. They stop one of the rotate members on those windows, but the plant has gone down. And Arrow's there, ready and waiting, still taking member after member from the back. And Giddy's here to watch that diffuser, make sure it doesn't get disabled by the defense. So someone's got to jump out those windows and stop Giddy first, really, more than anything at this point. But Giddy's still playing it strong. Takes out Spirits. Melted's all to 1v2. This is a do or die situation. He's going to go for the disable and see, well, Giddy's there to try to kill him. And there it is. Giddy finishes him off. IF will take that second round, their first attacking round win.
I think that round was really, really aided by Spirits holding down outside of stock for so long. Of course, the misplay and utility clear from IF helped that greatly. But they still managed to rush in and get the plant down. Members of PB were not watching or not fully aware as Vivid started to get that bomb down, but they get 2 kills after that, using the very same hole that Subarctic opened up to get Vivid after the bomb went down. But that's the issue. IF still had enough manpower to make that work. Even though they were in the 2v3, Giddy was still on that North Repel, which can be extremely difficult to challenge if, as you said, if you jump outside, you could get him. But beyond that, it is extremely difficult to take him down from that position. Combined with Arrow as well, effectively setting up a crossfire for anybody that rotated into the site. They might have lacked the man advantage, but IF were still in control of that post plant. They just needed to work those angles, waste time. That's exactly what they did, and they won the round off of it.
Yeah, so he's too good. Yeah, I thought arrows in the windows, but yeah, him playing lobby was big there because, yeah, like you said, he's able to cut off rotates, but also stop anybody from peeking out those windows and lobby towards those repelling players. And yeah, at that point, yeah, the only thing you can do to stop Giddy would be to jump out the window. So big there. Yeah, like you said, perfect placement from IF, even though they missed their man disadvantage. They had the members they need and the places they need to make that plan happen. And while Vivid did die, unfortunately, still big thing was getting that plant down for his team to allow this situation in the first place. So we go back upstairs. We're trying one more time. PB is trying this conference executive area once more, and we'll see if they can pull off this time and see what different they do. Because last time there was, again, it seems like every time IF has like no time left in the round, they still make it happen. So PB can still work that, keep that time, and see if they can have the necessary utility to stop a plant. This could go their way this time, but big thing first is gonna be stopping again, trying to push into stock here, take control, and stop Spirits from playing this hallway.
Amrio will spot the magnets that go around, so I doubt we'll see the same waste of utility you saw. Again, an Ace Charge and a Gone 6 expended, another Ace Charge impact by Spirits because those magnets was able to suck those up earlier, and now we see some proper burn coming out from IF. Inreal might be blinded, but he can probably still land that grenade even blind. It's not the most difficult nade to throw once you know your positioning. But, right now, Inreal still trying desperately to see if he can get anything in. Ooh, nade caught by an ADS, though. That could be big. It still has that Gone 6 charge as well, but can send that Selma, or Subarctic can send that Selma charge in as well. See if he can open up that wall and put pressure on the Spirits.
Is Spirits still there after all of this?
He's still chilling.
He's still sitting there behind the shield, and they've tried flashes, grenades. Yeah, he's still. This is the big issue once again, where they're just wasting time and utility trying to push Spirits, trying to find angle onto him. Last time they had that open wall between that single, they opened up the single wall between CEO, trying to stop anyone playing behind the desk, which is big, and opening up into sight was kind of that entryway to push into sight, and also getting that pick on the Spirits here and stop from playing the hallway. But this time, it looks like they're not successful in doing so. So is IF going to try and rotate? Eska taking a lot of damage on site, I'm assuming, through those windows on the north side. But either way, it looks like IF are way less successful in pushing in. And what is going to be the plan now that they can't control that hallway?
They do still have these windows on lock, and that is always going to be a boon for them moving in on this attack. They'll also open up that reinforced panel, but is it able to get opened up? I'm not too sure just yet. If it is, again, they could deny some playing inside a closet, but 55 seconds left, and they're struggling to decide or figure out what they can do or what they should do. Last time, Vivid just opened up one of those panels that lead into office, sprinted on in, got the bomb on the floor. Now he's on Repel. Can't make that same player, either because he can't or because he doesn't want to. They'll start to rotate over to Arrow inside of main lobby, maybe trying to send a play at main stairs. They have Giddy watching the rotate on those green stairs, rotating up, with Penguin getting a kill on the Subarctic as well. Parabellum are quickly taking the lead in this match, but there's Vivid able to get a kill onto the players playing inside a conference, and Banana now with the man advantage as well. Things are looking a little bit more uncertain for PB, but again, it shifts hands once again. Melted and Spirits both make the play, and the last two members are the two who rotated the main lobby. They have to play for the picks here, but they have two E1Ds to make the push in a little bit more easy, but Arrow doesn't feel comfortable using them. They just have to take the raw gunfights. He'll finally use one. It'll down Kool-Aid, but Vivid downed as well. Only 2 seconds left. Not enough time to get either of those kills. Parabellum almost taking after IF on Cafe. They take the lead the second time in a row. It's back and forth again.
Back and forth we go, but that round a lot better this time for PB, especially just because Spirits could sit in that hallway by the vending machine for quite a while, and they just weren't able to use utility for IF to drive him out of the situation, which led IF to have to rotate. But by the time they rotated, they had no time for a push. They did have some success with Giddy pushing up those main stairs, doing a crouch walk, a crouch walk up the stairs where they wouldn't expect it. But Penguin getting the first pick, a refrag here and there, but still looking the way of Parabellum in those fights in the end. And they try to push up Banana into sight. And it was, again, hesitation, a lack of intent, a lack of, unified goal, unified utility caused them to just waste too much time in the end. And they just have to walk in and take fights with PB. So we go back downstairs for PB's next defense. And this defense looked pretty good for PB. Looked pretty good.
It was looking very good for PB. A lot of the focal point of it was Spirits and Eska on the roam, and then also rotating back and utilizing holes made by them on this roam to get long angles on the attack as they made their way through the third and second floor. That's how Eska got the first kill of this match onto Giddy. He dropped down the hatch, and through 2 floors and a hole made looking into Janitor, found Giddy rotating through, took him down. I have spent a lot of time trying to clear out that roam, and when they transitioned to the site, they still had Penguin playing his life on server stairs that took even more time to try to clear out. And then by the time they tried to push onto the site, there wasn't really much they could do at that point. Parabellum as well, the lineup they have at the moment, mirror windows to stop their path. Eska Spirits on the same operators, Shumika grenades, smoke canisters, utility is all dedicated to wasting time. And it already worked before. It's looking good again, depending on what IF do.
It looks like it's a start so far. It seems they're playing that same angle. They're going to take that third floor, and they're going to try and open up these holes. Well, it looks like there was a hole underneath Subarctic as he jumped in, but nobody's playing it. Or Eska was playing for a little bit, but looks like he's dropped off of it, so he won't get the pill on a Subarctic. Subarctic jumps in. They're taking control of the top floor, opening up the holes from above. And, well, last time they really couldn't get anything out of this vertical play. They had all this vertical play opened up between, open area inside of closet, inside office, and archives. They couldn't find a single kill off of it, and they wasted so much time doing so without really much of a success. So is this gonna be the same play this time? Looks like there's a Shaka playing elevator this time though, playing E2.
Clearly trying to contest Garage. This is a lot more concentrated of a hold up top. Melted dedicating not only his utility, but his life as well. It's instead Spirits to rotate down with Eska, and they both can contest that angle. But that leaves Melted a little bit uncomfortable in this elevator right now. Could rotate back if the hatch is open, and Kool-Aid was supplying him some support. That's exactly what he'll do. Hatch open, he can rotate back. Half the round wasted for PB, and you haven't lost, well, you lost some HP for Spirits, but you still have all 5 of your men on the board. That is the important part. For IF, now they have to start making their way through the map, opening up those hatches. Now they haven't lost anybody on the roam. If they're aware of that long angle, this could be another 5v5 execute once we move on to the site.
And the big thing is, at least these executes are so difficult unless you have somebody really go for like maybe a playthrough garage late in the round. We've seen a lot of rounds on this site go well because they have someone either come down main stairs, go down the hatch, go down garage in the last dying seconds, and create chaos, ensue chaos and create confusion where the execute's happening from. And well, Penguin last time played very well, wasted quite a bit of time with these smoke canisters and made it difficult. And it seems like all of IF are pushing towards server. There's nobody going for a different angle from that side. Grenade comes out, gone goes Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid off in red, I'm assuming, as the mirror. So he'll go down. The C4 off the board. S goes down too. And down goes Penguin. All these members are going down from IF. IF are finding angles left and right to give them the advantage in this execute.
Melted does still have a lot of time wasting. He can use those flame grenades, bank them maybe off a wall or just straight onto the doorway to stop the bomb from going down. But you can also see 2 members or 3 members positioned on 2 separate hatches to not only try to deny Spirits rotating in, but Melted from playing comfortably as well. Vivian can get the bomb down easily with both of those factors going their way. And it's a 5v2 post plan that Parabellum have to find some miracle out of. None will present itself, and I have got a flawless round to answer back, evening up the round count.
What a round from IF, and really it seemed to be the same exact round we saw once again during that first round from PB. But that dying seconds, we see 3 kills all in a row from IF in those dying seconds. You saw Kool-Aid off and ready, hit by a grenade. Eska elsewhere, maybe he was getting aggressive. Eska maybe going up main stairs, gets caught off guard too. And then you saw Penguin. Well, Penguin died last time too, but he was playing that position where you expect to die on main stairs, or not main stairs, on server stairs. But combined with the other kills, it just makes it so difficult for the last 2 members of PB to do anything in a 5v2 as they're pushing in the site, and especially with control of the hatches, having those Selmas destroy the mirror and not having anything to deny that. It's pretty much impossible for PB to win the round, despite the fact there's only 20 seconds left to go.
Subarctic, when his Selmas have actually been able to take effect and they're not impact tricked or caught by magnets, He's done very well for them so far. Usually just one summon charge will deny a pretty powerful position from PB, whether it's a mirror window or trying to take down spirits inside a stock, even though that one wasn't successful. He's done very well for himself on that ace with that utility specifically. And if Parabellum are going for the setup, I think they are, this could be a useful one here. Sometimes we'll see an extension into office, side his tellers, onto that top floor in the room we're looking at right now. Try and set up a mirror window kind of around this position to look on through. That was a strat maybe earlier on in Bank. Don't know if they're using the exact same thing here, but if they get that top floor control as well, they can also throw a Soma charge on that mirror window they're looking at right now to try and deny anybody playing that position, watching anybody push in from main lobby or what have you.
It's interesting how these bars. I remember we talked about those bars too. The fact that these bars change from being.
Ooh, I forgot about that actually.
Yeah, the
You just
bars
said it.
before went from north to south. Now they go from west to south, west to east instead now, which is interesting. I don't know if it makes it more difficult for vendors or more easier for the attackers. I'm not the a pro at this. I'm not an analyst, but I'm interested to see if they really change up how they play. Because you saw that he was
You're an analyst, what?
putting up those holes.
You're an analyst.
What?
We're doing right now.
I'm not an analyst. I'm a
All right.
caster.
Fair enough.
Well, first things first, they're trying to walk on a site, but there's a mirror window watching that side, so they can't just walk in. And maybe Arrow thought it would be that easy, but he's gonna walk away from the lobby side. And this tells Archive's defense it's got quite a few mechanisms to it. Question is, can IF figure out those mechanisms and diffuse them properly?
Oh, I think they certainly can so far. They've already made that much progress inside a main lobby. Sabar could use 2 of his Soma charges, 1 likely to deny again another rotation for PB inside the site. They've spotted Melted on the castle, playing inside a conference, behind a Goyo shield, maybe trying to hold a long angle. But this is sometimes the difficulty with extending up top. It can be very easy to pinch people out or push them back if they don't have the requisite utility dedicated to them. C4 flies out early on, doesn't do any bit of damage to IF, and in fact, one member, that's Spirits, again, playing outside of stock, he's caught off guard. A bullet lands in his shoulder, but thankfully he sits there still alive, and that's the important part right now. If he can continue holding this position, which so far has proved extremely difficult for Investigation File to clear, that's going to be the big thing. But finally, he rotates off, takes another chunk of damage, but makes it away alive once again.
And we're down to a minute 15, and this Rome has not been cleared. Spirits is returned to site. Most of the members of PB are now pushing back onto site because it tells Archive it's not an upstairs defense. So at this point, it's they're gonna let IF take control in the dying minute, and we'll see if IF can really still control. But there's still one member upstairs inside of the. Never mind, I just dropped that. I lied. And now we'll see IF if they can now take control and use the vertical pressure to push them out. But again, this mirror window and these extensions that PB has is gonna be what stops them from getting that plant down. Depends on how many C4s. Only got 1 C4 available, and the guns available though, so maybe not. We'll see though, because they're gonna open up, and that mirror one is gonna be the first thing you probably see. Giddy try to defuse and get rid of.
Oh, that's the problem. Can he do it, though? He has 1 nade. He can throw on back, but with time slowly ticking away, they have managed, and actually, take back my words, opened up a hole above that mirror window, taken it down, pushed the players off. It's still a 5v5 at the moment, with 2 members of Parabellum worse for wear, 1 even going down on the floor, but there's another counter by Enrio, who's directly inside the site, caught off guard. It ends up through all the chaos in a 3v3 once again, and everyone from IF is pushing from main lobby, something that Parabellum likely anticipated and have countermeasures for. They're starting to rotate over, 1 playing the long angle, but he's spotted. That was Spirits on low HP down. It's just Kool-Aid in the 1v3, doesn't have a C4. He gets cut down as the rest of IF move their way into the site. That really could have worked, but you have to give it to the man who spotted Spirits in between that bookshelf, because that was probably the play that opened things up.
Who got the opening pick there? Because that was a mess of chaos.
It was... Who was it, actually? I know it was down onto Penguin. I actually don't know exactly, because
Did they kill Penguin or
about
did
the
they
same
just
time.
down him? I think they only downed him and then they got a kill. I don't know, but that still was like chaos, because it was the fact that, like, again, these rounds come down to the last minute in the executes from IF, and they had control vertical. They got rid of the mirror window. There wasn't a lot of utility from the side of PB to stop a plant coming from tellers. They only had 1 C4 left, and because that mirror was open, they have a long angle into Archives, and so those members from PB now have to try and push back. And while I don't know how Enrio got in the site, he was just kind of in Archives.
He was there.
Don't even know. Like, he just kind of walks in and is in Archives existing. He dies. Members from PB get shot from above. They're getting picked off as they try to rotate. And really, at that point, because IF had so much control of tellers of lobby, they push on a site, and it's those members from PB have to try and push back in and take fights on these open holes. The mirror as well being an open hole of allowing IF to just sit and wait and pick them off. And this kind of goes to the point I had before about the fact that if you allow these attackers the trait that execute, it makes it so difficult for the defenders to try and push back into sight, to try and retake and stop them from planting, which is why it requires, like we saw in the IF Wichita Wolves games, we saw a lot of defenders get aggressive when you maybe thought they didn't need to, but in essence, in hindsight, they kind of had to actually.
But there is a lot of utility here for Parabellum's defense right now that could allow them to get aggressive. A lot of operators who can get aggressive, but also a lot of utility for that site later on. They have those Goyo shields that they look like they're putting top floor. I saw Melted move one to a different position. He had the Goyo shield outside of stock. Maybe he rotated it. Actually, I think he... Actually, no, he didn't. It's still there. So he just changed his... reverted his change, and Spirits is still playing behind there. This is a little bit of a worry because while it has proven difficult for IF to clear, they have progressively become not only more adept at working around it, but also have dealt with it a lot quicker than they have previously. So this is going to be a position that IF are going to be well aware that Spirits will be playing, and they can probably clear out pretty well. There is a new wrinkle. A Malusi playing inside a Banana, but Eska might be a little bit by himself right now, and there's clearly active info in his position that Giddy might be able to capitalize on.
He's trying to find the head, and he could have seen it for a second there, but there was someone playing there last time too, so it's still a similar roam from last time. But still, the last time took a while to get rid of it, but it still worked out in the end. And he looks away. The E1D pops up on a screen. He sits still for a second, allowing Giddy to just rain fire on his position, take out the member inside of Checkers. Now the next member is going to be the Goyo of Melted. And well, last time PB, they were able to just kind of push off, but losing the member early and putting yourself in that 4v5 execute later on could be already the death of them this round. We'll see if they get aggressive and try and take back fights, though.
Maybe not the point where they need to start making fights. Never mind. Now is definitely the point where they need to start taking fights and making plays. Subarctic finds Melted just caught with his pants down, unaware as the breach charge opens about 20 feet in front of him. And Ace pushes on through, takes him down. One player still up top. Spirits playing for his life right now, spotted by the E1D. He trades out with Subarctic, but a trade only serves to further weaken Parabellum's standing in their final defensive round. Kool-Aid and Penguin, two operators that right now could do well in a situation where IF move in for the execute. Penguin with the C4, Kool-Aid with the Yokais. Of course, the latter needs to get in a position where he can use them comfortably, but the longer IF takes, the more potential those Yokais have to swing the round from dramatically in the favor of IF to a lot more palatable for PB's chances. 30 seconds remaining. IF start to transition to the bottom floor. Penguin's gone unread behind the desk outside of Tellers. Takes down Arrow, the Lion, who is all alone by himself. But now he's got to dance and tangle with Inrio, who's aware of his position, watching for Penguin to peek, cut down. It's all left up to Kool-Aid in a 1v3, 2 rounds in a row. Members all around him. He can't stop his impending fate. IF end their attacking half 4-2, which, to be fair on Bank, not the worst thing in the world. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it seems to be more and more that Bank is more attacker-sided, seeing how things have gone. But we'll see, though. We'll see how Parabellum do on their attacking half now. And well, that round was really big, and just again, like losing that person early and then trying to then come back. You saw PB were at that point trying to retreat, it seemed more than anything, and you saw another player get caught off inside of Janitor, and then another player get caught off trying to get aggressive, trying to push back and take fights. He did get a crate, Spares to get a trade in the end there, which helped out his team. But like you said before, it's still a 4v2 on site. And it requires at that point, those last two players to try and find picks. Penguin gets one of his own, but gets picked up by Inrio, who pushes in archives because the intel's there and it leaves Kool-Aid in a 1v3. And not much you can do there when all three players are pushing right in the kitchen. They all know your position.
And again, keep in mind, this is not said and done for Parabellum just yet. Not in IF's game against Wichita Wolves, they took the lead on their attacking half. 4-2, as a matter of fact. Does that sound familiar at all? And then suddenly, the enemy team came back and won 5-1 on their attacking half, and the game ended 7-5. So Parabellum, again, a team who are no slouches on the attack, to be sure. On a map as well, they've likely prepped for this. This is their map pick. They should be comfortable on it. This could still be a very close game, but a couple rounds could swing things further into the favor of IF. Benny, we're starting out in an open area. Again, this Bank is still kind of new to me. I've not casted it as much. Again, you were around back when Bank was in the pool. It's still new to me. I'm not used to seeing this site as the go-to for a team.
Well, even back then, open area and kitchen wasn't even viable back then.
Well, that's true, but it's still weird for me.
It's weird either way, because
even
if you casted Bank back then, you didn't cast open area very often. It's almost like trying to cast freaking, bar and stock inside of Clubhouse. Like, you don't see it very often because of how difficult it is, but because of the renovations, the changes to Bank, it is thus much more much more viable. You definitely can play it in a similar way to before, but now you don't have to care about a hatch in the middle of the site that just cuts off everybody from moving in the first place. So it's definitely a lot safer to play. And well, I'm not sure about the win rate in NA so far, but I feel like it's definitely iffy at the time, at the moment at least. Probably 50-50.
Might have to check the numbers on that. But right now, Parabellum have made some early openings in and around the site. You can see Melted has opened up that single window as a castle barricade. Open it up. Has a nice little angle into the site. Isn't contesting anything directly, but could serve as a cutoff depending on who ends up rotating through. Penguin is also rotated in. Open up that Selma charge. That, again, another doorway that leads out of open area. Could serve as a rotation. Can now contest that as well. But nobody contesting stock either as aggressively as Spirits did on their defense. Parabellum can rotate on in, not only get that vertical hole, but it's melted through that very window to land the opening pick onto Giddy, who was that pulse and could have beamed intel about, say, Eska's position to the rest of the defense and go for a C4. Instead, he's taken down, and they might still have two C4s, but they have a lot less intel to guide their decision-making.
Yeah, nobody from IF is roaming. That's one thing we've seen from IF again and again is they're a very turtle-like defense team. And again, there's no roam from the side of IF, which allows for Parabellum to go to work, open up these holes they need to. And this is going to leave a lot of intel has need to be here from Parabellum. And you can see them. They're already finding out where these members are and how static they are. There is one member coming up main stairs for a flank. Subarctic playing Archives, 2 players on site. So again, this aggressive play is going to be big. Spirits jumps right in. Then Penguin goes down. The flank gets stopped. Inrio gets take 2. Spirits on his own. It looks like they're in sight as Inri goes down. So now it's just down to Subarctic to try and take back sight. The diffuser's in his hands.
Oh.
So this could be a win for IF.
Could very well be a win for IF. He spots Melted, puts him down to extremely low HP. If he just lands a nice pre-fire, it'll be a 1v1, but he rotates back. He can still contest this long angle, but Eska's on the hunt to try to shut him down. He spots the sledgehammer for just a second, flicks, manages to thread the needle over the printer, and now his final opponent in this round is on basically 1 or 2 bullets away from death. He's recovered the diffuser, though. Melted has it in his pocket, but Subarctic still has a C4 and maybe some intel. We don't exactly know the full breadth of what Subarctic has. He'll start rotating on back. Melted should get the bomb down, but Subarctic might be able to catch him off. Will he move right or left? He'll stick on the diffuser for right now. Doesn't want to give himself away to any angle. He's slowly crouching around. As Subarctic looking! He manages to land the shots! Downs Melted, C4 to finish it off. IF win their first defense in the post plant.
Wow, that was a close one. In that round, I was so scared for IF because it looked like they knew where the 2 players were on site. The flank was the big thing there, but you saw Inrio on site, stopping them pushing in, being that pillar to allow for someone like Subarctic to then make that play later on. Subarctic gets the kill, well, the player with the diffuser gets killed out. Subarctic gets the intel from Inrio, knowing where that diffuser is, allows him to play around the diffuser and win that round for his team was huge there.
Masterful play by Subarctic. The fact that he had diffuser and that miracle shot onto Eska. If Parabellum end up losing the series 2-0, that might be the moment people look at as where the cards truly were not in the hands of PB anymore. Timeout from them, of course, as you can see, and 5-2. I think this is there. If you waited any longer, you're at risk of things spiraling out of control. Even now, you're at risk of things spiraling out of control. For IF, they've got open area off the board. Could go to upstairs. Could go to basement. One adaptation I want to see from PB, we didn't see much of their execute, but it seemed like PB have always brought the Capital, and it seemed like, combined with the Jackal as well, maybe a bit more of an emphasis on smokes, plus with those 2 new hard breach charges that Capital has, can get some hard breaching done as well. I want to see more of those smokes have an impact, because they worked their way into sight, but with diffuser dropped at that double door, whatever impact that utility had was completely minimized by that fact. Maybe Penguin needs to play a little bit more reserved, and those smokes can truly have an impact. And it appears the site, of course, when we get back, might be basement. I think those smokes could do very well for not only cutting off angles, but facilitating an approach down blue stairs, for example.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It seems like they figured out where those, like the fact that there were just 2 players in kitchen kind of just sitting there, and they wanted to spring on those players. You saw people pushing from electrical, people like you saw Penguin jump down from that janitor closet into office, and they seemed like they wanted to just execute onto kitchen and kill those players out, which as you saw didn't go very well for them. And maybe that's what you mean, like maybe they need to be more objective focused there, where they smoke out, and since they know those players there, they can try and focus on the roamers, get rid of them, and focus on planting rather than getting rid of those players. But it's all hindsight, really.
That is true. Now they've had a timeout to say, okay, what should we have done? How can we apply that to the rounds in the future? Immediate 6-pick from both teams. One from Gridlock to Jackal, and one from Jaeger to Vigil. And I think Whether or not Kool-Aid knows it, that could be a very impactful six-pick for what's happening. Enrio on the Vigil could be playing a little bit more fast and loose. He certainly played it on their defensive half against Wichita as well in the final game of the stage that IF played. So bringing out the Jackal, I think, could be a very good counter, whether or not he knew it, but a very good counter to Enrio, because you can scan the floor, you can look at those feet, and nail down Enrio. And if they're worried about maybe time getting wasted off the site, the Jackal could cut through all of that by making a beeline towards Enrio.
You talk about smokes too, and bringing more smokes on the board. This could be the perfect site for that kind of execute with the Capital and Spirits, Kool-Aid on the Jackal. This could be the round 4, and the question is how is IF can play this. We saw from at least from Parabellums, they had that roam game, but it was more just to waste time. They pull back when there's pressure. They play that server stairs to make it difficult, and they go for, of course, denying that push into server, into CCTV, make it difficult to get that plant down with all of the utility. Though we've seen, so they won it once, but they won it once, lose it twice. Let me check real quick. Looking notes. But still, like, I'm just to see if IF still go for that standard. We're gonna go for servers, go for CCTV, or maybe they go for the hatches or something that make me change it up for PB.
They do have those 2 hard breach charges, so they have a little bit more leeway to go for those hatches. Again, the Hibana's banned, so you do have to commit a lot more hard breaching, especially since Ace is common on Bank and has been common among both these teams so far. You're going to need something else, and if you don't want to bring a whole nother hard breacher, those 2 hard breach charges can provide you a lot of leniency. And Spirits as well has really good primary utility. They will spot one. That's not Enrio on the Vigil. It's Subarctic on mute getting aggressive inside of Tellers. And since he's been spotted, they can certainly use that intel, but there's nobody in immediate position to capitalize. Enrio will also, the moment a drone spots him, rotate back down. IF are not trying to get super aggressive. They're trying to play it a little bit safe. Maybe that's the exact opposite of what Subarctic is doing. Kool-Aid finds him, catches him off guard. Now with the Vigil spotted as well, Parabellum not only can start moving in to clear out the rest of this roam, but specifically clear out Enrio if he hasn't already rotated back.
Oh, they pinged out both of the players inside of open air, inside of kitchen, both the Vigil and the Council of Giddy and Enrio. So with these 2 members in sight, if they get these 2 picks, that would solidify this round for PB, getting those roamers off the board. And the question is somebody from like Vivid, you see Vivid below the C4, he could be helping hand to stop the push from PB onto these roamers. But the question is, with the man advantage, do they really want to push these roamers knowing that they're both playing in kitchen, or do they want to try and maybe bypass them and go straight for sight? Kuid's looking down this hatch, scared about what happened, because you saw Eska do the exact same on their defense. He's scared of someone looking up that hatch back at him as he looks down. At this point, looks like PB are looking to siege these 2 players still sitting inside of these areas, and I would expect these 2 members to just drop back into sight, really.
Enrio still holding on. Members of Parabellum maneuvering down to that bottom floor. Kool-Aid as well, even going down further. Giddy will finally answer back onto Spirits, the Capital, so those smokes will no longer be a factor. In fact, Giddy is raining havoc all over them. Melted taken down as well. Giddy single-handedly brought this round back for IF, evened up the man count. Enrio's feeling free to rotate back. Look at what IF have right now. Maybe no C4, but they likely still have those mirror windows, the yokai drones from Arrow. And Parabellum only have 30 seconds to make their way down to the bottom floor. Final Inox scan used will spot someone, I believe, maybe playing inside a garage where that scan is. Yes, it is. Directly below Kool-Aid, Penguin slowly crouch walking his way through the site. He has diffuser. This is a bit of a risk because if he's taken down, if this kill doesn't work, who's there to try to recover? He finds Arrow sitting inside a garage. They know he's there, but Vivid in the site is the one with the kill. Nobody's paying attention to Arrow. In fact, Penguin is the only one left to pay attention to IF's defense. One to his right, he tries to get the kill, but he can't do it. The pistol, no more ammo in his AK. 6-2 right now for IF. One more round, and what many believe to be one of the contenders for grand finals will go to the losers bracket in the first match of playoffs.
I made that question in the middle of the round, was whether or not they wanted to siege those players inside of kitchen, inside open area, or push on to site instead, knowing they're both off site. And well, they made the choice there. You saw that, of course, PB had the first pick. They had the control they needed early in the round on the Subarctic too, but then they have the intel they need of those 2 players. They know both of them are there, but they still pushed him, and Giddy had the mirror window to him as well. He played that perfectly, gets 2 kills, allows for Enrio to back off, makes it a 3v3 with 30 seconds left to go. It's just unfortunate for PB to try and push that out to really go for those kills when they could have maybe tried to circumvent it, especially with the time as well on the board. They didn't have a lot of time left at that point when they even notified or had figured out where these 2 roamers were.
Final sight, or potentially final sight. Don't want to call it too early.
Wow.
I predicted PB, okay? By the way, I will say, before we get back into the round, I thought about changing my prediction to IF because of how much the map ban phase went in their favor, but I was like, you know what? As ye have faith, so shall your powers and blessings be. So I had faith, thinking my prediction would come through. I think I might be wrong on that count, Benny. I think I might be wrong on that count. But again, it's not all said and done yet. Parabellum, they always seem to start running out of rope, and then they somehow manage to find their way back into the game. But again, one round for IF, it's a bit difficult to say they're not going to win this one, especially with how well the defenses have looked so far. Parabellum are going for this same strategy, focusing on those smokes and the Capita with the hard breach charge that hasn't really paid any dividends for them so far, and IF can just keep playing their game. They have this mirror that's working so well. They have Arrow on the Echo, which nobody from Parabellum has really had the time to deal with, even if he hasn't had the biggest impact. He's an ever-looming threat. Parabellum might be well equipped to read into what IF are doing on their defenses, as it's similar on this top floor to what Parabellum were doing. Nobody holding directly outside of stock, though. How are they going to make their way on in? Especially if you take a look, there's some players down below that need to be droned by Parabellum.
Okay, running by.
Hello.
Oh. Well, so big thing here is, yeah, again, there's players below at C4. It's like maybe one player maybe below the C4. And the mirror windows are going to be big here as well. You see the mirror windows inside of conference, they're big, but they're going to open up these walls, first of all, from the side of, from square into CEO. Now the question is, with those smokes, can they smoke off these long angles? Because the big thing, that's why that soft wall is open, so you can play from checkers, have a long angle all the way towards square, and try to push back these attackers and pushing in. But those, the smokes will be big here. Smoke off this mirror, smoke off the line of sights, push on the site. If they can just clear out janitor, that could be easy play right there. Smoke's already coming out. This exactly could be the play here coming out from Parabellum.
Melted rotates down to stock, but the two smoke grenades flying out might have just been a misnomer. Maybe once they were caught, Parabellum called off whatever type of attack or execute they were going for, but time is wasted, and as the seconds slowly tick by, Parabellum, all they have at the moment is this repel, and what they have, Eska making his way in main lobby. Could have been a beautiful nade, but it's cooked a little bit too incorrectly. Explodes right above the player that Parabellum had active info on. Arrow just sitting there on his Echo drone, but I think it went just a little bit too far. And this is the problem. Who from Parabellum can counter those yokais? The second or the third of 4 smoke canisters, smoke bolts, what have you, flies on in. But again, there's no capitalization from Parabellum. No moving in. Another firebolt goes out, but what kind of execute are they going for? Well, Starsea Penguin, there we go, rotating on in. Might have repelled even, starting to get the bomb down. Nobody's there to counter. The coverage is there for Parabellum successfully. They might lose one body in main lobby, but he was by himself. The core and the bulwark of the attack is still alive. Subarctic inside a janitor will spot Melted, almost recreating their duel from earlier, but now it's at much more dire straits. Him an Arrow and a 2v4. Not much intel going their way, but a pre-fire will successfully land on the Melted. Subarctic peeks out an immensely important shot on the Spirits. Now they just have to deal with these players on rappel. Arrow commits, but he commits looking the wrong way. Subarctic in another 1v2. This one far worse than the one he was in before. One player to his left, one player behind him. This is looking like Parabellum will stave off death for one round more and go up 6-3.
Yeah, at this point, Subarctic, not much you can do here. No time left. Time goes out. That's a successful bomb disarmed from Parabellum. And like I was saying before, they tried to, it looks like they were smoking multiple times to try and bait out some aggression from IF. But sooner or later, you throw enough smoke grenades, you throw enough bait per se, and nobody reacts from the side of IF. And PB are like, screw it, we're just going to go for it at this point.
Yeah, we've used like all of our utility. We should probably go now.
We should probably go now. But yeah, big thing too as well, you saw from the fact that IF had reinforced most of janitor. There was only one wall that was soft that was maybe a rotate. So at that point, they figured that out. They smoke off all the mirrors. They smoke off anybody red that could go through. They have the necessary coverage from the windows and from square. There's nobody really pushing out. They have control of stock. So at that point, because stock controls there, you can stop from some janitor from peeking outwards. You can just go walk right in, go for that plant. It works out perfectly for Parabellum, though it was close in the end. The fact that the plant was down, you still people on the windows, up on the roof. All said and done for that point. So we go on to our next defense, go back to open area, which was that first round we saw from IF, which looked good at first. The fact that, nobody IF is roaming, nobody's really playing for any aggressive plays, allows the PB take control of the top floor and do what they will with that vertical play. But when they go for that push into kitchen, knowing that there's only 2 players in sight and 2 players off site, knowing that they can try and push players on site, doesn't go quite well when they push those players on site last time.
Yeah, it's important to remember there was one key sequence of events that happened late in the round that led to PB and us being in a situation where they could have lost it. But here as well, IF also have not really changed their lineup fundamentally too much. We still have Giddy on that pulse, who was taken down early on by Melted. That pulse had barely any impact. I think maybe one C4 was thrown out based on his intel, but it missed, and then he was killed about 20 seconds later. If Giddy's able to survive a bit later, I think maybe this round goes a little bit better for IF. They have more of that constant intel. Parabellum as well. No changes in their lineup substantially. They're going for the exact same attack so far. Melted opening up that single window. Penguin using that Selma charge on the exact same reinforced panel. And now likely rotating up, clear out this roam on the top floor, which, from IF, isn't really prevalent all too much.
Yeah, last time there was nobody really roaming. Like, sure, there was a flank later on from some members of IF, but nobody was playing at top floor initially. Nobody was playing on, there's no reinforced positions, no utility to play up there. So at this point, allows for PB just to go to work, and you see already, PB's opening up these wall above, and this angle is actually pretty big. They didn't create this angle last time, but if they can have this angle on those players, they can cause these players from IF inside of Kitchen to be in a position where you're expected to be in when you go for that push. If they inevitably do go for it, we'll see what happens though.
Angle.
That is a really nice angle too, actually. So these angles are perfect here from IF not IF, from PB. Try and cut off these players. They know one's in archives. Penguin's pinging out that play in archives. Looks like to be a mute who just put down a mute jammer. Sabartic once again. And now PB with all this information, what is going to be the play? Looks like they're smoking out, and it looks to be again a kitchen push like last time. That's where they lost the diffuser, allowing for Sabartic to make that crazy clutch that he did.
And not only will Sabartic, he got that clutch, but he C4s the castle barricade, catches Eska off guard, and takes him down. That was the Sledge, who actually could have opened that castle barricade if he wanted, but instead he was caught cooking a nade. Sabartic lands the opening pick, and Parabellum not really in a position to counter the play from the mute inside of archives and tellers right now. Everyone on the side from IF as well can continue holding fast. Still a minute and 9 seconds left. Plenty of time for Parabellum to gather intel, see what's going on. Kool-Aid also holding down the flank on blue stairs, shutting off what could be a key avenue for IF to try and punish Parabellum from behind if Parabellum still go for that kitchen take. That's the question. Are they still going to? Because with how much resistance they're facing, it's looking like a difficult gambit. There's not a lot of time to rotate, but they're pushing into a crossfire between Sabartic and Vivid. Some smoke canisters from Inrio as well, though that was the last one expended, so no more there. They have to get a pick somewhere or push a defender out of position to capitalize and move on in. Vivid peeks, Spirits tries to go for the capitalization, but there's Sabartic again to rear his head. That crossfire, the second prong working, but Kool-Aid flicks and shuts him down. But here's the problem. Both coverage for Penguin are on low HP. Giddy or Arrow, one shot can be the death of Melted and Kool-Aid. The first one goes down. He doesn't spot the diffuser, though, or it goes down on the opposite side of the wall, and now we're in a post plant. 2v2 even, but again, Kool-Aid is on 1 HP. He's got to play further back, and it's likely going to be on Penguin, the IGL, to again stave off death for just one more round. Arrow spots a drone, not active, so they might not know his position, but the gunfire will likely give it away. Everyone is rotated outside now, or at least Kool-Aid on blue stairs. Penguin all the way outside the building. Arrow's trying to contend with both these angles. He takes damage from the one outside. As Giddy goes for the defuse, he's the only one left. He's got to get off. Kool-Aid bolts in. The 1 HP doesn't matter. Rounds up both of them. 6-4 for PB. 2 rounds till overtime.
Much different round from PB. It's still scary when they came to that push into kitchen, but last time it was Inrear who was super big on creating that, stopping them pushing in, getting those kills, making them drop the diffuser outside of kitchen. This time though, we saw Spirits throw a firebolt on Inrear's position, push him off behind that shield. Especially too, Sabartic did pretty well in archives this time compared to the first round. He did get that clutch, but he didn't come in action until the end of the round. Compared to this round though, he did get a kill. He did get a crossfire, gets 2 kills. But the member as well, I think it was Arrow who was playing with him, or whoever the mirror was playing with Inrio, didn't have much of an impact with Inrio. So that entire anchor of kitchen just did not play out well this time for IF. Parabellum allows them to push in, get that plant down, and becomes a 2v2 post plant. And with the angles not in their favor, the last 2 players have to try and find out where these players are at, push them off, and take fights. And really, unfortunately, they try to push in. Like, I think Giddy was going for the disable, and you're going to have the other player push the player on blue. But unfortunately, the player in blue can't win that fight. Just puts Giddy into 1v2, trying to get the disable off. So good job, the PB. We go back to the downstairs in that basement, though, which was an IF win.
Was an IF win, and there's a bit of a role swap on the defense, Matty. I believe it was Arrow on the Echo last time playing inside a bathroom. This time it's Giddy, but in the exact same position. Inrio was on the Vigil. This time he's on the Smoke, though Inrio has, I believe, played Smoke a couple times throughout the stage. Certainly a far cry for the operators he's been playing throughout this series so far, but it's still a similar methodology in the defense. You have Giddy inside a garage, not only holding down that position. If nobody pushes there, it's a safe haven to use those yokai drones. Subarctic and Arrow have the chance to get aggressive. Arrow, I know CJ raised some worries about Arrow on the roam, but he's here now. So I guess CJ's analysis is correct, which it is, assuming it is. This is a great time for PB to capitalize off of that. But even then, Benny, they are still sitting inside a server. They're not getting aggressive by any stretch of the imagination.
So this time is different because the last time we saw IF, because they had the vigil and they had the castle, they were playing on that kitchen roam, and that kitchen roam was what allowed IF to come back in the round because they were down a man. And it ended up being a 4v5 into a 3v3 execute, which is the reason why they kind of, not really reason, but it was unfortunately a part of the reason why they lost that round, is they go to 3v3 execute rather than you having that man advantage and maybe push on site. So this time is PB going, there's nobody from IF roaming this time though, so they shouldn't have a problem with that this time though. So they should be able to just, do what they need to do, but this time they have to diffuse the area that is server if they go for that push, unless PB wants to go for a different play, go for that execute over into lockers instead, which could happen. Never know.
It's possible. Anything is possible at this point.
Yeah.
PB could just throw a complete curveball and none of us could predict. Doesn't seem to be that way so far. Taking it slow, clearing out that map, taking advantage of the fact that there is no roam from IF, so they can take all the map control they want on the second and first floor, open up these hatches, open up any vertical holes they want to make. Not many you can make on basement, but still, those hatches will definitely be the mainstay. That's also the issue, because IF, you can see, there's another similarity to Parabellum's defense. Of course, this is a common position amongst all basement defenses, is Inrio on the smoke, playing at the top of those server stairs, behind that deployable shield. If he's not cleared out, those smoke grenades, he can toss him out, delay even more time, and play close with that shotgun as well. They have spotted out Giddy on the Echo inside a garage, so they could send someone to clear him out, and that's exactly what they'll do. Spirits, if he gets this opening pick, this could be the play that wins PB the round.
Yeah, if they have garage control, it'll be huge. If they go, pair up garage control, dropping down those hatches, or maybe going for a playthrough, go play through servers later on, cause some confusion. But Giddy's waiting for it. He's ready for it. He's looking right where you turn the corner. So it has to be pre-fire or something from the side of Parabellum to win them this hatch. Usually people push garage later in the round when they don't expect it, because of the fact that you can peek so far out in garage and deny people pushing into the building in the first place. So Spirit's taking damage. He's trying his best to push in, and he's pushed farther into the road. But the question is, can he make this happen?
That is the question, right? But right now, this is favoring Giddy just by the fact that he's still alive and keep wasting time for two members of the attack. But Penguin dropped the elevator hatch, and he's got the opening pick. Melted also could swing onto Arrow and make this 5-3 if he can land the pre-fire, catch him off guard. He does, but no, he misses the shots. That's the big play. That's what IF needed. Now Giddy also could take Spirits off guard. He's trying to peek, but the intel goes his way. It's still a 3v3. Not all said and done just yet. Penguin gets this bomb down, their odds increase dramatically. None of the yokais are in position. It goes down successfully, but Arrow's still alive. He has bottom green stairs. Penguin, I believe, vaulted out. He goes prone immediately to try to catch the Jaeger off guard. Both Giddy and Arrow have now rotated back from garage to the bottom of the stairs. Penguin catches him off guard. You can't pre-fire through that Giddy. He's on the opposite side of the wall. Spots the arm, but he still gets the kill. Vivid on 1 HP in the 1v3. Post-plant, LMD, a lot of ammo, but does he have the intel? He does not. Kool-Aid seals his fate. Parabellum 1 round away from overtime. A 4-round comeback in the making, Benny.
Wow.
Do they have it in them?
Hey, it's in the attacker side of half, but even if it's attacker sided, I would say Parabellum have been figuring out quite a few ways to make it different compared to what we saw from IF. And I talked about the fact they did change up their attack. They didn't go for that same server CCTV push that IF had placed the utility at, expecting that play. They had that first pick, Parabellum, Penguin jumping down the hatch, gaining control of elevator, because elevator is huge now, not just a small freaking box now, for God's sakes. It's a giant room now. Yeah, it's a giant room he can jump in now. So he can jump in the elevator, take refuge in there, and on top of that, pushing in, all the members from IF at that point were either garage or they were server. So it allows PB to walk into lockers, get that plant down, make it a 3v3 execute at that point, or post plant. And at that point, it was just, again, I have to walk in and try and take those fights. And you saw Penguin just lying down by the window, and nobody knew he was there.
And here's the issue right now, Benny. Obviously, for IF, they've lost 3 rounds in a row. They could go to any site they want to.
Yeah.
But this is the most important round of the series. It decides whether IF win the match outright or we go to overtime to decide who's winning. But for this one round, IF have a minute to prepare, to talk over what they want to do, to go over their site setup. But it gives PB, who already have the momentum going their way, again, another minute as well, to fully decide what kind of attack they want to go for. They don't know the site necessarily, but for both teams, this both gives them time to talk. And with PB and the momentum, I don't think this is going to throw them off guard by any means. For IF, here's the site they have decided on. Haven't cut back yet. I was gonna
say,
do a dramatic.
Don't spoil it.
I was gonna say, you know what? I'll wait to do a dramatic review. But
Dramatically.
wait.
Oh,
It's Executive Lounge and CEO office. There we go. But so, going that second floor site, Benny. The issue is they have not won this site.
no.
But to be fair, they've lost every site they've gone to so far. But they won open area and basement. But now they haven't won this site at all in history.
And we call back to this round. Last time they played it, there again. Biggest issue with IF and well, their defenses in this kind of map is that they aren't aggressive in the right moments. They played very timid in this round, and they allowed for Parabellum to open those walls up. They smoked like 4 or 5 times, expecting some aggression from IF. IF never answered, which is a good and bad thing. It could be a good and bad thing that you're not playing into that expected aggression from PB. But because they never enacted anything, they didn't have the intel, they didn't have any kind of cams, they don't know because Valkyrie's banned, they didn't have a yokai inside of sight. They didn't know that at that point, Penguin walks in with all those smokes and plants the diffuser, puts it into a post plant, and you have members still in the window, you still have members repelling, you still have people over in lobby in positions to give them that round. So in the end, what is IF going to change in this defense? Are they actually going to start taking fights, or are they going to allow for PB to create and execute once again?
Well, but that's the thing, Benny. You talked about the lack of intel. I mean, they have Black Mirrors, Evil Eyes, Yokai drones. They have that intel they need to stop that plant, because that is the win condition for this round for PB, is getting that bomb down, because once they have the diffuser, if they have the man advantage as well, they get somebody on rappel and outside, and we've seen time and time again for both sides when they're on the defense, how difficult it is to take those fights, win them, and get that post plant. If all they can do is stop that bomb from going down, not saying the round's a guarantee, but that is how they end this match 7-5, and they do it with those yokai cams, with those evil eyes, and also trying to minimize these players on rappel. Kool-Aid spotted one playing inside of Janitor. That's the Maestro. He knows that as well because of his Inox, but playing behind this reinforcement, can't dislodge him just yet.
Yeah, last time too, you had a member from Parabellum take control of stock, which denied anybody from walking in a Janitor. If they can keep control of stock this time for IF, that would make a lot more opportunity for a flank, for some kind of play to stop the plan from going down, or at least get some kills and stop them pushing into into this area, into the hallway. But we'll see how so far. Melted's trying to stave off any kind of aggression from that conference room walking out into the hallway. Kool-Aid's on the windows here as well, so these angles are in the play for Parabellum is starting us off once again, and the question is IF can change something here? Are they going to play some downstairs, maybe the C4? I think I saw Giddy walking below with the C4, so he could be that member if they have the intel to just C4 Penguin if he goes for that plant once again.
Smoke grenades coming out. 2 repels coming on in. Are they aware of this? Kool-Aid and Penguin not going inside, instead going to Banana. Is Arrow aware? It's shots exchanged, but PB to come away with the man advantage. 5-3. Jaeger and Echo down. One of your key bits of intel taken off the board. The Penguin put on the floor as well. Diffuser dropped. Melted loses his life. Effectively a 3v3, and Diffuser dropped for PB. Have to go recover it. C4 opens up Janitor. Active intel on Eska's current position. But Vivid's in a box right now. He's all alone. It's overtime on the boards for Parabellum. A 4-round comeback. 6-6. Now it's anybody's game for who can come away with this.
Oh boy, what a round from them. And Parabellum, again, the creativity to change it up once again. They knew from that first round when they attacked that site that nobody jumps after the smokes. Nobody's baited out by the smokes. So what do you do at that point? Just jump off the first smokes, get back in the site. You saw the double repel into Banana, into the hallway. They know Arrow last time was playing checkers. So what they do, they kill Arrow. Eska coming up those spiral stairs, knows that nobody played it last time. Nobody was playing aggressive in the area whatsoever. So he has that control. Sure, there was some deaths. You saw Penguin die pushing in, but the fact that PB played that so well, knowing how IF played that in the previous round or the previous time they played that site, was just huge from PB. So again, that's the reason why a lot of us think that PB is going to make it, is because of this the ability to adapt and understand how your opponent plays, and they've done it time and time again.
Now, Benny, they're starting on the attack. The side that they won 4 rounds in a row on, the side that has won the majority of these rounds in the game so far, 8-4 attacking rounds collectively between both these teams.
Yeah,
so attack has definitely been the favorite side, not only on Bank, but in this match in particular, and that's the side Parabellum get to start on. It's not a bad note for IF to start on, though. It might be defense, but they go to basement, a site that They did win initially, then lost later on, and they'll go back to that strategy that did win them that round. The Roam with Inrio on the Vigil, Subarctic holding inside of Tellers, not a bunker like they did on their second attempt. They're going back to their winning strategy that got them that first baseman defense.
Well, let's see what PB has to be the one to adapt and change, like we just talked about a second ago, adapting to what the opponent's doing. IF, though, they've played a lot of bunker defenses, which is in turn, I feel like have cost them a lot in these rounds. So going back to that roam, and now we're going to see how Parabellum clear them out, because last time they didn't get the first pick, but then they go for that full roam clear into kitchen, which didn't go so well for them. You know, Giddy on the castle last time was key in keeping control of kitchen and open area for his team. So now we can see what PB are, of course, joining out, seeing what is going on, see what members of IF are playing upstairs. He's a bit different. Looks like there's only one player over by that, archived open area. There's a player inside the elevator in the E2 area, so there's a bit different from IF. Can PB figure it out? What are they going to do here in response?
Yes, Mintel on one player playing inside of open area, but Spartic is rotated down, but still rotating back up to give some support to Inrio on green stairs. Kool-Aid is just above one floor up, who was looking to get aggressive, but instead he's rotated over. They're not contesting that position just yet. Still opening up these holes up top, trying to find avenues to clear out Inrio and pressure him as he continues to play inside of open area. Some intel down below as well. Penguin will have to use 2 of his Selma charges on this. No, Spirits is instead going to use a hard breach charge. Good, I was about to say that's kind of a waste of hard breach utility, especially one they've used. But look, they're just going for the hot drop. Penguin will immediately fall, a little bit delayed, but he moves into vault. This sound cue will be relayed to IF, but are they aware of this play? Yes, they are! Vivid fires just a couple shots, reaps 2 souls of Parabellum. Eska will finally answer back. He's dropped as well and melted too. That impact from Vivid completely nullified. Not completely, but at least in terms of the mathematics, it's a 3v3 even once again. Spirits moving in through gold on low HP could be the first one from Parabellum to fall after the initial 2 bodies dropped and hit the floor. Eska has control of sight. He's managed to work his way inside of lockers. Green is clear, nobody pushing, but the Yokais have made their way in. Not only are they giving intel on Eska's position, but he's been stunned as well. Any gunfight he takes, the more he moves, he's gonna be at the disadvantage. Thankfully, Spirits manages to rotate in. They can now cover and start to get the bomb on the floor. Smoke sends one on. It's actually a C4 to open up the wall. Subarctic fires some shots, but unfortunately no attacker of Parabellum gives him any angle to play with. Spirits continues to delay. He'll send out his second firebolt to try to stop the rotation from IF to deny this plant. It's going to have to be the long angles, maybe the Yokais, for IF to try to stop Spirits from getting this bomb on the floor. The second left, can they stop it? No, they will not. Post plant now. 3v3, 2v3, 2v2 in fact. Eska's rotated back to elevators. Benny mentioned how powerful a position this is, and Subarctic hasn't read into it. Inrio 1v2. Low HP, a mirror window, gazing at his position. Parabellum have won 5 rounds in a row and are 1 round away from sending it to a 3rd map.
What a difference. And really, we haven't seen a real rush from any of the teams so far, so why not pull it out in the first overtime round?
Classic PB move.
Hey, and it was scary. He drops down the hatch, and Vivid gets a perfect lineup to start that off. But the big thing there was the fact that PB had all the control they needed. Sure, it took a bit of time to finalize that control, but having control elevator, having control of Ockers, having those smoke bolts and utility to stop IF from coming back, from trying to push back into sight, finalizing and having that control was huge for PB. And really, in the end, a 3v3 is one thing, but if you get the plant down, and you're playing, the attackers are playing defenders,
PB rotating back to office, Benny. What has the one position that we focused on PB's defense so much, not only on this side, but in general? What was it? It is Spirits on Wamai playing outside of stock. The one position that always seems to cause IF the most trouble. They started to clear it out a lot better towards the end, but it is still routinely cost them a large amount of utility, both hard breaching and, say, in explosives like nades or Gone 6s to try and clear out. That has been one of the big issues, not only for this site in particular, but for Parabellum's defenses overall that IF has not been able to deal with nearly as well. They've won it. IF have won this site and lost it once as well, and a lot of it has been in a similar manner, opening up those windows. The first round they won, they sent Vivid in through that single panel to get the bomb down. Second round, not nearly as successful, and a lot of it is because of how much time that Parabellum Spirits on one hand, but Parabellum as well have wasted on IF's side as they try to clear out those players playing off the site.
Yeah, I think last time they could even clear Spirits the second time, couldn't they even? The first time they were able to push him out finally. But the second time they couldn't even get rid of Spirits in that position. So, again, it's going to be, like you said, it's going to come down to can they push Spirits out? Can they gain this control they need to make the plan happen? And this time, well, they're bringing a Flores to try and make it even easier this time. Grenade comes off, should destroy that shield, or at least make it difficult for Spirits. Oh, he's still just playing there. So what happened to Flores drone?
We have seen IF in their Wichita game arrow flex to the Flores in that so far. I'm actually surprised. I didn't even think about it that we haven't seen it up until this point, but so far those Rotera drones are not having nearly the amount of impact they need. But a nade will land. But oh no! It destroys the Selma charge! Was that the nade or was that the impact? No, that was the impact!
Yes, he impacted both the Selmas.
He's still one more. Subarctic still has one, and this one in all likelihood can open up that wall and push Spirits off, but again, so much utility wasted. But this is the problem. Spirits cannot back off. He can play by elevator, play below that main stairs skylight. That's a little bit more difficult to position, but now the skylight's closed, a lot more comfortable to play.
Yeah, I think last time too, the second round they had this Giddy did pull off some kind of play going up those stairs later on, and while they have driven Spirits back, now we need to see what IF does next here, because last time, they open up that wall, they go for that plant behind it after clearing out Janitor, but I don't know if they even cleared out Janitor yet for IF. Subarctic opening up into the lobby to go for, a back play, see if he can get a kill on the player in checkers, and they're going to push into square now and try to open up that wall. But there's still a player in Janitor. That's the big thing. Having Kool-Aid and Janitor with the Alda and the Spirits off in the distance, still playing well. He takes out Inrio, and there goes the Yana as well. So IF are just this is a very disadvantaged situation. Someone like Subarctic playing that back position needs to make a play for his team.
They have opened up that single panel, and that's the avenue by which they won that first attacking round. They sent Vivid in, he got the bomb down, and even though it wasn't the best position to do it, again, they entered that post plant. That is what IF needs to happen. It doesn't matter if it's a 4v5, 3v5, whatever. As long as you get that bomb on the floor and you have players on rappel, this round should go your way. But 30 seconds left, and IF haven't seemed to be in a position to make that happen just yet. And their odds are slipping by the second. Spirits 2 kills so far. Subarctic down. That player you said to make a play, Benny, he's been cut down by Spirits. Vivid will finally have an answer back, but there he is! Still rearing his head, still causing a hell of a lot of problems for IF. Vivid, the only one left. He has the diffuser, spotted Kool-Aid with 9 seconds left. Can he get 4 kills? No, he can't. It's the bailiff to seal his fate. 6 rounds in a row for PB. We're going to map number 3.
Oh, what a game that was. It was PB's map pick. It was looking scary at first, but they hard fought win. They bring it back. They adapt and they overcome. Great job from PB. We go to Clubhouse next, which will be interesting.
I mean, oh my god, Spirits 18 kills.